I'm going to walk you through how to make a Co-op MDF program by starting off with what is Co-op MDF. Basically, Co-op MDF is a partnership between manufacturers and their partners. So let's just say you're Walmart and Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola makes the Cokes, obviously. Walmart has stores all over the country and all over the world. Coca-Cola is an international company. So for them to advertise in St. Louis, Bangkok, New York, St. George, Utah, all these places require different advertising mediums. They all have their different nuances. So it's far easier for Coca-Cola to partner with these local retailers and say, hey, I want you to place an advertisement featuring Coca-Cola and Walmart, and we'll reimburse you part of the advertising costs. In a nutshell, that's what cooperative advertising is. That's what a Co-op MDF program is. However, the overall goal of it is to just help sell more of the manufacturer's products. And then expanding upon that a little bit more, there are two main types of Co-op MDF programs, and the distinction is right there in the very name. There are co-op funds, which are funds set aside as a percentage of the amount of goods that a partner will purchase. And then there are MDF funds, which are instead given upfront. So, like to kind of walk you through it, returning with the Walmart and Coca-Cola example. So Coca-Cola, if it was an MDF funds, they would give those funds upfront to Walmart and say, okay, we're going to give you $2,000 to spend on an advertising thing. But if it was a cooperative advertising thing, Coca-Cola would say to Walmart, okay, for 3% of the purchases that you give, we're going to reimburse you partly for advertising costs. And so if Walmart only sold $10,000 worth of goods, they would then receive $300 worth of cooperative advertising funds. It's completely proportionate to their performance. And so while Coca-Cola and Walmart is a clear example of a Co-op MDF program, there's many other examples. If you name a famous brand like LG Electronics, Nike, Apple, Canon, some of these companies we've actually worked with, all of them have cooperative advertising programs. But then even smaller companies like local distributors or local manufacturers that you don't really know too much of, even they likely have cooperative advertising programs. And they all have them because of the benefits of it, which is that the manufacturers get expanded reach, the partners spend less on advertising, and overall, they're able to form more loyalty with each other and increase the amount of partnerships, both professionally, business-wise, and just personally. A well-run cooperative advertising program helps everyone involved. But how do you actually create a Co-op MDF program? Well, there's a 5-step process. The first step is define your goals and see who your target audience is. Now, like for example, if you're Coca-Cola, with Walmart, you're probably going to have super general brands, TV commercials, billboards, because it's like everyone could possibly buy Coke products. But if you're a niche service provider, maybe you sell a software as a service, your strategy working with these partners is going to be a little bit different, because rather than placing a TV commercial, you're probably going to get better money for your worth placing an ad, at a trade show or having a targeted keyword campaign on Google. And then more specifically, what is success for you? Do you want an immediate jump start to your funds? Do you want to have a more long-term campaign and just build brand awareness? Or do you just want to train your partners and help them get better at selling? Because depending on these goals, this will then determine what kind of reimbursement strategy you have. Do you like more co-op funds? Or do you like more MDF funds? How much of this? What's the goal that you want to hit for this quarter? How is it in past quarters? All of these numbers are very important for you to determine, because then you can move on to step number 2, which is selecting eligible partners and defining your criteria. And so now that you have your goals in mind, you want to see who would be a good fit for this. Because if you're an electronics manufacturer, you want to work with distributors and retailers who gel with that mission, like a Best Buy or a specific type of retail store that can really help you. Because depending on what your market is, those are the partners that you want to go after. But so that you're not just wasting your time with certain people and that everyone can benefit from this, make sure that you only select high-performing partners. And you would know this by seeing what your goals are and seeing what your target audience is. And then you could say, okay, if you're selling more than $25 million a year, can you work with us? Or only if 60% of your target audience is this specific niche, can you work with us? Because while you are, yes, going to be disqualifying a lot of people, it's by qualifying and realizing your target audience that you're able to experience more business success. You also want to regularly update this criteria if you notice anything is amiss or any room for improvements. And this leads us into step number 3, which is to establish program guidelines. Or in other words, what are the rules of your program? Now, first things first, make sure you get all of this in writing, ideally on a website where it's all easily visible. And you also want to make it simple. Don't try to make it complicated. We see partners that have the most long and verbose marketing programs, and it's just so difficult for their partners to actually try to get any funds or try to do anything. And so you want to simplify these processes by making it as clear as possible. And also, if you really want to streamline this process, this leads us into step number 4, which is to implement an efficient reimbursement or tracking system. Now, we know that some partners will opt to do this manually, tracking their funds with Excel spreadsheets, sending emails to their partners at certain dates, and tracking all of this manually. Trying to have the audits and trying to track the receipts and put them here and put them there. This is way too difficult. It could be so much easier. Use a software solution. Like we at Computer Market Research have Partner Portal. It offers you an easy dashboard. You can view all your funds. It leaves real-time audit trails. It's accessible 24/7. So if you're trying to improve your Co-op MDF program and you're just trying to simplify and save yourself hours each week, well, check out the link in the description and we'll see if we're a good fit for each other. And the last step to make an effective Co-op MDF program is to monitor and analyze your results. So in other words, you just want to track what you're doing and see how it can be improved. Track which advertising activities are working better than others. Does billboard advertising cost more? But is it bringing in the customers? Or does Google marketing work really well, but maybe it's kind of hard to track? I don't know. At the end of the day, you have these numbers. So see what's working, see what's not, double down on the things that are working, discourage the things that aren't. And on that same note of tracking numbers, also track the specific numbers of your program success. What percentage of your partners are engaged in your program? How many of them were engaged last year at a certain time? How long are they on your website? What percentage of them actually use your funds? You want to track all of these things because then you can improve it. And then just a lightning round of some quick tips on how you can improve your Co-op MDF program. Here's a couple of them. 1, invest in partner training and education. You don't only need to incentivize your partners to be able to sell more products. You could also incentivize your partners to take training groups or sales trainings or do anything else that you think would help them move the needle in your business. Because at the end of the day, your partners have to sell your products. And so if they can get better at it, then this helps you. Next is to keep it stupid simple. I know I said this earlier, but don't make it complicated. Don't use highly technical text. Obviously have your lawyers review the program guidelines, but at the end of the day, make it simple, make it clear. Think about what your partners are doing when they read your guidelines and just make it super easy for them to follow it and for them to be able to do things that help you and help them. Next is to provide marketing support to your partners. And a similar theme to the earlier points, helping your partners doesn't mean giving them more money. It could also be providing brand assets, actual logos, actual previous ads that you've run. So then you can serve it to your partners and say, hey, look, this thing works really well. Why don't you try and do something similar? So you give it to them, they take it, they use it, and they improve with it. And that's about it for this one. If you want to check out a software to better manage your Co-op MDF funds, check the link out in the description and click on these videos if you want to learn more about marketing and cooperative advertising. Thank you.